Yeah, it's backwards. I know there's a setting.
This is Zoom?
Yeah.
Why are you recording in Zoom? Doesn't this have its own software?
Yeah, but the software's, I'm
Terrible.
trying to live stream.
So. Yeah, there's gotta be a setting. under-
So what's that mean? That's the place where they're gonna go live or is that?
Hear my video. No, we were, well, I haven't played around. We were just trying to get your presentation, so it wasn't backwards.
Is it following or is it?
No, we gotta upload some software or download some stuff.
We do? Not working before. No such luck, huh? Does the TV play through the overhead speakers?
It can,
What do we need to do to make that happen
actually, no, it doesn't.
for the videos I have?
We'll just have to raise the volume here,
All right.
which we'll do right now, so you have it set up. Okay. Um.
No stress. I was like. Selfish, just like to be there. Even if. Oh, yeah.
Today we went up into the attic and it was the way it ended up.
We're gonna talk real quick and then
Hello? Check. 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 Hello? Hello? Check. Check. You getting anything? Yeah, okay. Then I'll stop saying check like an idiot. You good? Hey.
we go through connected.
Ah.
Came to a previous group. So many
Hey,
people.
Jeremy.
Have you met Jeremy last time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
He's the expert.
You don't have to
You're in
be.
the right place.
Nobody's gonna sit in the front.
We get out there with the binoculars, like.
Ugh.
Everything.
Jeremy. Good to meet you.
You didn't do any commercial stuff or remain residential?
I'm getting more in commercial. It's mostly what all my bids are right now. Last year I stepped on for that.
See you.
Nice to see you.
Good, how are you?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're doing a job up in Ogden right now. There's like a 27 townhomes.
I'll send you a link.
So they're like seven plexes.
Your information and then it will.
Yeah.
Email your.
Well, there's drinks and snacks over here, so feel free to help yourself.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Oh, yeah. Show up. Huh. Oh. Good to see you guys again.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Good. Hey, how's it going? Good.
Where you gonna be me?
Huh?
Where you gonna be me?
Back row here, you sit here.
Me too. And, got one of the chairs up here.
Sure. Happy to.
He's,
Sit up there too. And you can
Okay.
share and talk.
All right.
Close enough.
If you want to isolate, look, the time
fine.
corner's over there. So-
I'll start there. That's all right.
You're good. But there's drinks and snacks over here, so grab it.
Ooh. He's my video guy. Huh?
So sure. One Captain Obvious. No, I'm
Captain Obvious.
I wonder if Google, those little Google tablets or Google pads.
Hey, I saved this
Run
one here for you.
that.
$300. The little Google laptops, but they run on a Google software.
Oh, like Surface?
Chromebooks. Chromebooks, yeah, that's. what
Oh, Chromebook.
They have them. School. Google email.
Yeah. that's the only thing we have.
They know all about you. Don't worry, you can't get away. Can't get away from them, I promise. Very good.
Yeah.
Got your story locked and loaded.
Oh, crap.
Good thing we talked.
Yeah, I'll pull it up now. I've already got the list, so. Good to see you again.
Russ, nice to meet you.
Jeremy,
Jeremy, what do you do here?
I'm the accountant.
You're the accountant. You're the one we're listening to.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Don't be sorry. We paid to come listen.
This is right,
Because obviously
So you better
we
perform.
don't know that part.
right?
$3 o'clock, it's my deadline. Should be one, too, but. We'll explain it out here. We got to go.
Don't waste my time.
No, I just have a tendency to repeat myself and I'm trying to get away from that.
I get it. I like it.
Where are you located?
We're on Boston, but we want the whole valley. We're, I'll go out to Utah County, but we don't market Utah County.
A little bit. Is
Too far right now until I get a place out here in Salt Lake.
that what you're looking for?
Can't afford it right now, but eventually.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
So what we try to do with this office is find something that's kind of central, close to the freeway. It's hard to find something.
Well, my main shop is in Ogden, where my big office is at, and then I have all the parking.
Okay.
But I'm looking for like a satellite office, one bathroom, a little tiny office for the guys working out of it.
Yeah.
Parking vans. Inside, so they don't get broken into.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing them from 12 to 1,500. That would work.
Are you? Kind of like South Salt Lake area or?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly where. I'm not ready, so I'm just browsing. Like, that might work.
When I started looking through this space, I started the browsing area. What's up, buddy? So much, you know. Hey, they're gonna do a fire alarm sprinkler test thingy.
Oh,
So
sprinkler test.
hopefully not sprinkler test, but fire alarm something. So if you hear the noise
Run.
or just hang out, whatever. I trust you guys. Just don't be the last one out. Just remember that. Trip, fight, claw, scream. Don't be the last one out. Oh, wait, that's fighting a bear. I probably won't do that for another week, so. That's all good. I appreciate it. Yes. Remember those, so I don't forget. Although I can forget things. What's up, right, Jeremy? I said I like. Huh? Did I do this? Hello there. I'm Gerritt. Are you here with this fat guy? That's the better. I don't think I've met better look. I'm Gerritt. Maybe I did at the house. The
Yeah, at the wounded blue house, he was there.
I was there too. For the two ladies that just showed up, they're gonna test the fire alarms here in a second, so we're just waiting for that to happen. And then we'll get rolling. So my buddy, we went to the police academy together. 5 years in, and started federal. So now he's worked his way up where he's especially in charge, like he's pretty high up. And he's in Washington. I'm like, have you met Cash yet? Like, no, not yet. He goes, people are really hesitant about things. Oh, I know. But just do your job, right? That's exactly what like, don't lie. Have you ever hear about what country? Money. Wow, that is loud. Hey, bye.
Yeah.
You know they work.
Oh.
He walks in, he's like, I forgot to tell you, and I was like, yeah.
Not like we have anything going on, right?
If he walked in, he's like, oh, you guys are doing something. Hole that we could feel. They kind of have like a basket for real far apart, and then they have like a brain plug like in from. I know. A nice story.
That's annoying.
Hey, Jeremy, start.
Let's
But you have to time it for.
go.
Yeah.
Gosh. Suck.
Oh.
That, or they would need it to be valid. Who knows, maybe the office was just broken. Yeah, where's the office plan?
Flashing.
All right, I pulled the plug.
Did you?
All right, we're done. We're back. Start it on. You don't want me to-
No.
To the back. Maybe. Let me see if there's anybody here. No, nobody. We're gonna record this. All right, we're gonna get rock and rolling. Some of you guys have been here before, and we appreciate you coming back. Some of you guys are new, and we appreciate you being here. Just gonna do a quick intro about who we are and what we do, because there's definitely those questions. And then I'll introduce Jeremy, and we'll get rock and rolling on everybody's favorite subject, finances. My name is Gerritt Bake. I am the founder and owner of the American Contractor Network. We do two things. We do training and education for contractors. Some of you are part of our community. Some of you are not. If you're not, you're welcome here. But we have different programs that help contractors grow. So we have a group of experts. Jeremy's going to be one of them. I'll introduce Ryan. Ryan, raise your hand. He is our expert in all things marketing and sales. I cover operations, teams, and leadership. So between us, we handle all aspects of business. Now, this particular workshop, topic specific, it is budgeting, right? Now, we talk about budgeting for a couple of reasons. Number one, and the most important, is if you don't have a budget, eventually you're not going to be making any money, and eventually you're going to have to close the doors, right? So your numbers matter. And it's hard for me to say that because I hate numbers. But I've learned to leverage numbers to get the results that I want. How many of you guys think that you make money when you send your bid out? How many of you guys think you make money when the job is done? How many of you have no idea? Right? Not a bad thing. So you're going to learn the answer to that question and some more from Jeremy here in a minute. Before I forget, if you're not a member, we encourage you to join our community. We have a couple different options. The first one is, we call it our basic package. It's $97 a month. You'll get access to all of these workshops. And if you can't make it, we're actually live streaming this right now. So you'll have the access. Oh, look, it's moving. It's working. Oh, yeah. Kind of, I think. It wasn't working before. Who knows? We'll figure it out. But we've got the entire screen covered. So if you can't make it, these will be recorded, or if you wanted to watch them remotely, you have that opportunity as well. We also have some different things that we engage in. And then, of course, we have our coaching programs. But that's not what tonight is about. Tonight is specifically about building a budget that doesn't suck. So Jeremy, a brief intro on him. He used to own a landscaping company. So he's been in the trades. He owned that company for 15 years here locally. Went back to school, decided to get his master's degree, and became an accountant. So he's been doing that for about 15 years. His office is right there. So if you're curious about Jeremy's personality, just take a peek. That'll tell you everything you need to know. But Jeremy's a great guy. We brought him in for a particular reason. One, and most important, is because most accountants, and this is not a knock on your accountant if you have one, most accountants don't know how to speak business. They know how to speak numbers. And the difference with Jeremy, come on in. The difference with Jeremy is he understands both, right? So he takes the complicated and simplifies it down. Now, if you don't have anything to write with, let me know. We can get you a notepad, something to write with. You're going to want to take notes. But if you're going to do anything tonight, make sure that you're focused on your business. So Jeremy will talk high-level concepts and theories about different aspects of budgeting. If you don't understand anything, what should you do? Ask, please ask. We like people leaving with answers to questions. We like people leaving with clarity. If you don't have clarity, we didn't do our job. Fair? Okay, as always, drink snacks in the back over there.
Bathrooms are outside and to the left down the hallway. Feel free to get up when you need. But without further ado, my friend and coworker, Jeremy Locke.
There we go. Okay. All right. Building a budget that doesn't suck. Who is like Gerritt here and hates numbers? Yeah? Okay. We're going to simplify things and make it really simple and easy to understand. Okay. Accounting is complicated. They did it that way on purpose. But there is a simpler way to look at accounting and be able to understand what's going on. So we'll go over that today. All right. So to start with, who here has done a budget before? Yeah? Okay. For those of you that have never done a budget, why not? Okay. Yeah, what don't you know? Yeah. Yeah, perfect. Anyone else? No? Okay. Yeah, so it's really hard to just jump right in and put a budget together when you don't understand accounting and numbers and all of that, right? So let's simplify that. So the question is where to start, right? I want to tell you a little story about my weightlifting experience. All right. It all started in high school because of football. And during the summer, we would have workouts and then be expected to lift afterwards, right? And who here has been in a weight room with a bunch of football players in high school? Yeah. What happens in a weight room in high school football? There's not much lifting that goes on, right? It's a room full of a lot of testosterone, right? And what is it that most people do in a room full of testosterone, in a weight room full of testosterone? How much can you bench, right? How much can you squat? How much can you deadlift, right? Those or curl. Curls were the big ones too, right? To show off the gun show. That was my extent of weightlifting. That's all I've ever done, right? So if I wanted to get into weightlifting, there are two different ways to approach it, right? The first way is to look it up online or something, download a weightlifting plan, and just go to the gym and start lifting. The second is to go to a gym, find a good trainer, and what is a trainer going to do with you right off when they start working with you? Okay, talk about that.
I'm actually a personal trainer.
There you go. Okay. So what do you do when I come into you to start lifting?
That's where you're at. I'm gonna have you go through basic movements to make sure that everything is working how it's supposed to before we start the weightlifting. And then when we are where we're supposed to be with your squats, with your shoulder presses, with your deadlifts, then we'll start with low weights and move up from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. That was lucky. Awesome. So how do you shape the program for people? How do you decide what they need to do?
It's based on the person. So if you have really bad knees per se, I'm not gonna have you start with squats. I'm gonna have you start with hip thrusts because you can do those from the floor instead. So it's all based on the person and how their body moves, what they need and what their goals are
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. That fits exactly into where I'm going with this. You got to have goals, right? If somebody comes in and wants to lose weight, that program is going to be much different from somebody that comes in and is super skinny and wants to get ripped. Very different programs, right? So, to continue this conversation, I have another question here. What size company do you have? Okay. So you say small. Anybody else? If somebody asks you, hey, what size company do you have? What are you going to answer them? There's no wrong answer. What's that? Okay. You might talk about the number of employees you have. Yeah. You might mention your revenue, right? When you're looking for demographics for different markets, revenue is a big one. The number of employees is a big one, right? Those are the ways that we typically decide what size company we have, right? Those are all wrong. Don't do that anymore. And here's why. Who cares how much revenue you have? What's that? Do they? Exactly, right? If you have $1 million company and $10,000 of profit, that's going to be very different than $1 million company with 200,000 in profit, right? But both people can say they have $1 million company. See where I'm going there? Gerritt likes to say all the time, it's not about making money. It's about keeping money, right? So that's what we're going to focus on here. So then the next question is, how much money do you need to keep? Yeah. Okay. Let's split into 3 groups here. Let's do these 3 tables, these 3 tables, and these 3 tables. And I want you guys to come up, each of you, I want each of you, each company to come up with a number. How much money do you need to keep? Yes, a dollar number. How much profit do you need? Okay? No, a dollar amount, solid dollar. Okay? Yeah, so group up there and talk about it and explain to people how, explain to each other how you're coming up with that number.
But this isn't what we want to keep, it's what.
How much money do you want to keep? Mhm. Yeah.
Per annum?
What's that?
Year, per month, per?
So ultimately, we would, if it's per month or per week, then we can just project it to a year or vice versa. So it doesn't matter. Sure.
Your number is different than my number.
Well, each of them are different, so we're all different kind of companies. What's your?
Like I'm the
Everyone here is construction except for towns. Yeah.
I'll just pretend it.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, like a dollar amount's way harder than a percentage.
Why?
Because like each one of us different, you know,
But I guess in the end.
To be fair though, right, he's saying how much do you want to make it? Because then we're gonna be able to break that
I
down.
want to make personally,
Right.
yes, it's-
How much you want to make personally. Nobody cares how much your business makes. Back to the $1 million example, right?
Be bringing in $1 million, but you only keep 50 grand, or you could be bringing, or you could be making $250,000 and keeping 100. Right?
I'd like to, the point that I'm making.
Personally. Yeah.
Awesome.
I need more. Yeah, yeah. I just want them to be-
New builds?
Yeah. Jeremy, we don't know how much money you want to keep.
You don't know how much you want to keep? Okay,
What area do you cover? Okay.
all right, I think we're about there. So let's bring it back. What did you guys come up with?
$536,000.
Okay. Sounds good.
I already did all this math
Did you?
previously
Huh.
for another project.
Awesome. Anyone else? Who found this hard? Why? Why was it hard?
Need more to the question than just how much do I want to eat.
Okay. You'll overthink it? Okay. Yeah. What's that? Yeah. Well, that is the question. How much do you want to earn? How much do you want to keep? Right? So yeah, that is exactly the question. Right? And as far as defining that, you define that. Nobody else does. You get to decide. Right? So here's the problem with this whole scenario, right? If you don't have a reason for a certain number, that's not going to motivate you to put a budget together. That's not going to motivate you to increase sales. That's not going to motivate you to do anything, right? Anybody know what this is? Yeah, there we go. There's my Gen X friends. All right, we're gonna watch this. This is a really cool video here. All right. Do you have the remote?
Write everything down if you want to. Be brave enough to write every one of your goals down. But I'm going to tell you something. Life's going to hit you in your mouth, and you got to do me a huge favor. Your
Yeah.
why has to be greater than that knockdown. And I love it. Buster Douglas got knocked out. Nobody ever got knocked out by Mike Tyson and ever got back up. It was almost a 10 count. He was stumbling. It was 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding, ding, ding. Saved by the bell. He goes to his corner. The whole world is like, that's it. Once he comes back out, that's it. Mike's going to just hammer him. And exactly that. Mike Tyson came out like, I got him. I got this kid up against the rope. Listen to me, many of you right now, life's got you up against the rope. You can't give up. You can't give in. Listen to me, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And if life's got you backed up, I need you to do what Buster Douglas did. Buster Douglas started fighting back. World was shocked. Goliath has been knocked down. What happened? And they went to Buster Douglas and they asked Buster Douglas simply like, what happened? And Buster Douglas said, listen to me, it's real simple. Before my mother died, she told the whole world that I was going to beat Mike Tyson. And 2 days before the fight, my mother died. Buster Douglas had a decision to make. When his mother died, he could die with his mother, or he made a decision, I can wake up and I can live for mom. And he knocked Mike Tyson out simply because his why was greater than that punch. His why was greater than defeat. His why was greater than his trial and his tribulation. And I'm telling you, if you don't know what your why is, and your why isn't strong, you're going to get knocked out every single day.
Pretty cool, huh? Who knew that story about Douglas? You knew his mom died 2 days before? Yeah. I learned that probably 5 years ago from this video, and it's just awesome. It's a great story, right? So your why has got to be greater. Okay. Here's my why. Here's why I'm an accountant now rather than a landscaper, right? This is a really, really small job that I did. I did $1 million landscapes. We did block, we did pools, we did custom balustrades, we did custom statuary. We did all kinds of really big, fancy things, water features, right? I loved it. It was so much fun. I would go in, I'd create this awesome design with for these people that had all kinds of money, and then be able to go implement it and see it come to fruition. That was such a fulfilling feeling. And I loved it. And I would have kept doing that forever. But I never understood my money. I always had problems with cash flow. I always had problems figuring out how to pay my bills, right? I frequently had to take my own money and put it back into the business to keep it up and going. 2008 came around, and nobody was doing high-end residential design build anymore. And my company went under, and I went bankrupt. And that was awful, horrible. I don't recommend it. Sometimes it's a necessity. It's a great tool that is in place for us, but it makes you feel like a huge failure, right? And that's where I was, pretty much in the depths of depression. 4 months later, I went in to get my taxes prepared. I was chatting with my accountant, and he was on his keyboard across the desk from me. He's on his keyboard typing away and taking notes on everything we were saying. And we got on the topic of my bankruptcy, and he stopped typing, and he turned and looked at me, and he said, "Yeah, I've seen that coming for several years now." Yeah. So when you have problems with your accountant, I understand. I've been there. I get it. I decided to solve that problem and be the kind of accountant that can communicate with people and help them to be able to avoid the same pitfalls that I had. That's my why. That's why I do what I do every day, right? So here's what I want you guys to do. I want you to think about your why for the profit of your business. I want you to think why you're in business, what it is you want to be able to do. What are your dreams and goals? What are your targets? Once you're done with that, pair up with someone, and then we're going to do 5 whys. Okay? So you'll give your reason, and then the other person says, okay, why is that important to you? And then you answer that, and they'll ask you again, okay, why is that important to you? And we'll continue doing that for 5 whys. Okay, 5 times. So go ahead, write down what it is you want to be able to do with the money from your business in your personal life, or, in the community, or whatever that may be. And then as soon as you're done, pair up with somebody and go through that 5 whys thing. Okay, we'll give you a bit to do that. Oh, never mind. It's back in the middle now. When you finish writing stuff down, maybe raise your hand so people know who to pair up with. Other people that are ready. There you go. Who's ready to pair up? All right, everybody stand up and go find someone to pair up with.
One why and the because for the why?
No, so you'll tell them what it is you want. They will say to you, why? Why is that important to you? You'll explain it. Then they'll ask, why is that important to you? 5 times.
So is it, it's not the same why, right? You explain it and then you ask, and then they say a different why.
What? Yeah, why for that explanation? Why for the next explanation? Huh? No, go through all 5. Yeah, for both of you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah. What you want? Let's hear it.
Live my life without worry or have to get back to what they need it. I like that. I like that a lot. Ride my motorcycle across country for 50 years.
What motorcycle you have?
A road kid. I got a road glide. I actually have a 12.5.
Awesome.
Just 1 or 2 motorcycles.
Awesome.
What else we got?
Because I want to have a company that offers me the freedom of
I replaced. Oh, do you?
Yeah, exactly. So. Yeah. Freedom from being that so I have no worries. But my why would be just so I don't have to worry. Yeah. And then to provide for my kids and stimulate.
Can I interrupt really quickly?
Grandkids, yes.
Okay, so you say, so you don't have to worry.
Why?
Why is that important to you?
Oh, I got you.
5 times.
Oh, for each one?
Just pick one.
Oh.
Just pick one. Sorry. I apologize. Yeah. Just pick one.
And then 5 whys.
5 whys on that one.
Okay. Pick one first. Yes. And that's my return. Yeah, I don't think all are gonna do that because how I grew up. I grew up in Walmart City, and we would get evicted and have the power get shut off, and I never had money for field trips or even gas to get to school. So that's why I pay off my debt, because I don't want money to keep me as like a slave, because I used to have a shopping addiction. What's your next one?
I want to be able to support the community. Again, I grew up in various.
Can I interrupt 1 second?
Yeah.
Just pick one item
Okay.
and do 5 whys on that one.
Oh,
It's too late, Jeremy, we're already halfway through. We're on like the third one.
we have 100%. Okay,
Yeah, the goal here is to dig deep on one thing.
okay. Okay.
Wait, I didn't go that deep.
Well, it's supposed to be off the cuff. You're not supposed to write it all down. Yeah.
Okay.
I should have won that one.
Okay, so deeper on. So, like I said, I didn't grow up much, and so I don't want my kids to be in this house.
Okay, so that's one because is that you don't want your kids to be in the same spot. So
Yeah.
now
I think my first because
So-
is so my parents thought about money.
Yeah.
Right, and I don't want that to happen. And then the next level down is because I want my kids to be able to have what they need and what they want.
Okay.
And then why do I want that is because I want them to have opportunities that, I mean, I had plenty of opportunities growing up, right? I mean, I got to do some cool things, but I want them to have that. The same opportunity, better opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And then why do I want them to have better opportunities? Because the world is changing. It's harder to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's both easier and harder to do stuff. But I want them to, I mean, just kind of like we were talking about homeschooling, right? I want them to have.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool.
I know, right?
Oh, it bends all over the place too. Gotcha. All right, guys, let's bring it back. May not have gotten all the way through all of the 5 whys, but what did you guys come up with? What are some of the things that you guys came up with? What is your why?
Benefit others' lives.
Okay, that's awesome.
Generation for your kids.
Yeah, great. What else?
Freedom.
I like it.
Some materialistic things on there.
Nothing wrong with that. Why?
Next car. Cause yeah, be able to make enough money that you can fix up his car and work on one of his passions.
That's awesome. Cool.
I want a ranch.
Okay, I like that. There you go. What's the reason for that?
Cause I'm sick of all of this.
Yeah.
I wanna be 5 miles away from the closest neighbor.
Awesome.
Riding
What?
Horses and doing my thing.
Yeah, awesome. Why is that important to you?
So,
Awesome. That's great. Okay. So now you have a why, something you're passionate about. Put a dollar amount to it. What is the dollar amount you need to achieve that why?
I actually did, that's one of my whys.
What's that?
How much?
I actually put that as one of my whys, I want to hit 100 million in revenue.
Okay, why?
Thing, so that I can employ a couple hundred people and change their lives,
Okay,
build a business that can take care of itself.
Okay.
without me,
okay.
so that I can go buy my ranch.
So, right. So what is the dollar amount associated with that? With the goal that you just described to me? That's not a revenue amount.
Well, I want to hit 30% on that, so that'd be $30 million.
30 million? Okay. And why is 30 million the target?
Pretty sure I can do whatever I want with 30 million, that gets me enough fuck you money, dude.
Yeah, right. Okay. I like that. That's awesome. Anybody else?
The animal sanctuary.
Okay.
I think I could do it for 2 million.
Okay. Again, let's go back and focus on the why. What is the why and what is the dollar amount for that? Put a dollar amount to that, right? So let's go back and forth on the rows here. I just want to hear your dollar amount now. Okay? Oh, she has to get the calculator out for this one. It doesn't have to be that complicated, Emily. All right. Done.
Somewhere north of 200 grand a year.
Okay, perfect, Emily. We'll come back.
150 a year.
What's that?
150 a year, under 50,000.
Awesome. Thomas.
720.
720. Okay.
You want 5 million in the bank, debt free,
What's that?
5 million?
5 million? That's your target?
That's what I came up with.
Yours is 5 million? Okay. You already said, yeah, we got yours, the 30 million.
But 50,000 of it towards travel.
Okay. That's great. That's great.
I'm in for a cool million.
That'll
Here, I'd be
help you meet your goal there.
Trying to build it for retirement, so I'm looking at trying to get everything built and sold for $1 million and then see what we're gonna do.
Okay. So, and $1 million will get you to that goal?
It's some residual income coming in from whatever I'm doing after that.
Okay, perfect.
I just want 50,000 in my savings account, so I can see that all the time.
Okay, so 50,000 is the number for you, right? Okay,
2.5 million.
okay. 2.5 million what?
Revenue
Who cares?
at 8%, so. 200,000.
Okay, there you go. That's the number. You could hit 200,000 at 500,000 or at 1 million, right? It doesn't have to be, the revenue doesn't matter. What we're looking for is that end goal, how much you keep. Awesome. All right. So now you guys have a goal. That's a number that you can budget on, right? Gotta steal Gerritt's markers. Okay. This is the foundation for your budget. This is the reason to put a budget together. That number that you came up with, not why that you came up with, right? That gives you a reason to actually put a budget together. You have a goal to hit, right? Now we're not just throwing numbers out there. We're talking about your dreams, right? All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll go about 2 minutes and then jump back into it. Sometimes. Oh, it's following.
All this come back and people probably do that. I wonder if it.
Maybe. Follows.
The webcam that follows.
No, it's following me.
That's what we're trying to get it to do.
But only use it for storage or as a drying rack. Get better results than hand washing with your dishwasher and Cascade Complete. Your dishwasher does the work for you with temperatures up to 140 degrees. For hands, some dishwashers even have a sanitizing cycle. Load pots, pans, and tableware at the bottom with plastic and glassware on top. Cascade Complete removes visible and invisible residue for virtually spot-free and shiny dishes. Switch to your dish.
That's stuff you're putting on right now. That we're pulling stuff up. The type of stuff that you're putting on right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find your zinger.
That's right. All right, I'm going to pass out M&Ms to you guys. You can open them, but don't eat them. We're going to use them. You can eat them later. Nope. Just kidding. You can... everybody gets a mini one. Exactly. That's why everybody gets a mini one. Which I thought there's one. Oh, I knew what you were looking for. There you go. I can do it. There you go.
Yeah, this one.
Thank you. These are different.
They are.
Thank you.
Guys, when you're at school with the M&M.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. M&Ms are much more fun than dollars. Uh-huh. Oh, sorry, Rand.
Thank you.
Oh. You back there. So.
You can manually move us.
There we go.
You gotta be on stage. Otherwise.
Oh, I'm just thinking about, no, I can't about that.
There
There we go.
One more person. Okay.
We're gonna get a.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Good deal. All right. So, yeah, tax write-offs. They most certainly are. I spent a lot of money on M&Ms. I actually just ordered a whole bunch of green only packets. So, and we'll explain why here. But let's see. Before we jump back into things, I need to explain my tooth.
Lower. Okay, now bring them closer together.
Okay. I feel like I'm in Minority Report.
I'm trying to get you back in the whole screen again. Good. You're good. All right.
I'm good. Oh, yeah. Very Minority Report. Anyway. So my tooth. Nobody ever asked me about my tooth. It's pretty obvious, right? But I'm not ashamed of it. I probably will get it fixed someday, just not right now. But I want everybody to know how I lost it, right? Because that's a burning question for some people. So I was at a wedding, and I was getting jiggy with it out on the dance floor. And I knocked over a pitcher of water, and it splashed on the ground, and I took a step, and I slipped, and I fell into the DJ table. It smacked my mouth, and that's how I lost it. So there you go. Yeah, I like that. Yep. All right. So we're going to move on now to the next step in the process. All right. So first of all, I'm going to show you two different videos, and you have to decide which one represents your methods. Okay. You'll understand as you see the videos. All right. You ready? Anybody remember this one?
This man right here is my great grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family. Herding cats. What do I tell you? It's easy. Anybody can herd cattle. Hold them together 10,000 half wild short hairs. Well, that's another thing altogether. Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning, right here. If you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
You see the movies, yeah, you hear the stories. I'm living a dream. Not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
It ain't an easy job, but when you bring a herd into town and you ain't lost a one of them, ain't a feeling like it in the world.
Complexities of the digital economy.
Okay. EDS, oddly enough, this was a commercial that came out as a Super Bowl commercial. That's when it was first played. My dad actually worked there when it came out, and it was like the commercial that won all the commercials for that Super Bowl year. I didn't know if you knew they actually do that. It's a competition, but they won. Anyway, here is the next video.
The North Square was the stage of the third annual Hilux New Zealand Rural Games, a showcase of sports that built the nation, and one contest that has played out on farms across the country for as long as anyone can remember is the Battle of Dog versus Sheep. The competition was a north-south affair with 4 shepherds per team, and the South's Wendy Schmidt and Dream set a high standard in the first run of the day. They're obliging rather nicely. Well done. The North's Merv Williams and his dog Showman put in a fine run that would ultimately win Showman the honour of best hitting dog of the competition. So they got 10 minutes to complete these 4 tasks. And Merv Williams, well-known dog trialist, having no trouble with the first hurdle through the gate. Although the duo did have a helping hand from a budding shepherd. Oh, we've got a bit of assistance coming onto the paddock. It is if you own that lovely looking little kid. Right, there you go, a bit of assistance there from the youngster. Showed great stock sense, that young child. Merv's giving him a thanks very much, mate. From south of the Mangaweka was Dave Stewart and Huntaway Gus, who needed to score big to keep his team in with a chance of taking the championship. Oh, this is a great run. This is a fantastic run. This is bordering on perfect, and I'm not even a sheep judge, and I'm getting the nod from John Harvey. Wow, give him a big hand. That is stunning. That is stunning. Well done. 97 out of 100. That's it.
That's some riveting stuff, isn't it? It's very cool, though. It's amazing what they can do. But which one compares best with your methods? The first one, raise your hand. That's me. The second? Why are the people for the second video so shy about it?
Because we don't want you to ask follow-up questions.
No, that's a good thing, right? Those of us herding cats, we got some work to do, right? But like you said at the beginning, nobody really taught you how to do a budget, right? And so it feels a little bit like herding cats, right? So now what everybody needs to do is open up your M&Ms and dump them out on the table. For the green pouch, you can just move the red ones aside, or the little green thing, the Christmas ones. Just move the red ones aside, or you can eat them, whatever. All we need are the green ones. Okay. Once you've done that, sort them into piles.
By color.
Huh?
By color.
By color. Thank you. Piles by color. Uh-huh. While you're doing that, who prefers the mini M&Ms over the others? Yeah. I kind of like the mini ones. Yeah. I like, no? Just peanut butter. Yeah, I like the peanut ones.
Big one and then things, Zach will eat it in like 2 days. Until I have to eat it for dinner.
Yeah.
The carnal ones are kind of garbage though. About the crispy.
I like the pretzel ones. Those are good too.
That exactly eat the whole thing with pretzel.
They put the big green ones with the little green ones.
Yeah.
Oh, so do the other one too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Done. Those will be. Got it.
Yeah. Stupid thing, huh?
All of the red ones are eliminated from this game.
Not all the red ones, just the mini red.
The big rib.
We're gonna keep the big red ones.
But I said that because I
Just-
was ready to eat those first.
Yeah, just set aside the mini red ones. Or eat them. What? One of those lasers for missiles. All right, everybody done? With the sorting? Okay, what you've just done here is bookkeeping. This is what bookkeeping is. It's taking all the transactions and just sorting them into different piles, right? Okay. So for budgeting purposes, the next thing that you want to do is go through, and I want you to write down 8 numbers. Okay. Right, the blue number, count how many blue and write that, and then count how many green and write it down here. Count your red ones, put them up here, and your green ones down here. Your orange ones and your green ones.
These are all 4 separate.
4 separate. Yes, exact. We're making fractions. Yellow with green underneath. Okay. Yeah, it's just fractions. Thank you, Tom, for. Yeah. Yeah. You want lots of green ones because the green ones represent revenue. And you have profit if you have any left over after covering all the other colors. You can count it as many times as you want. Yeah. Sure. Leave them aside for now. We'll get those in a second. Has everybody got their 8 numbers? Once you have your 8 numbers, break out your calculator and then just divide the top one by the bottom one. That should give you percentages. Yeah, just 2.
The spreadsheet that does all this stuff automatically for you.
Uh-huh. Top number divided by the bottom number for each one. So you end up with 4 numbers. What? Oh, the camera, I see. Slow on the uptake. All right. Let's see. Emily, what did you get for blue? Okay. Let's see. Thomas, what'd you get for red? Still, the green and red ones are great for you. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. All right. How about you guys? What did you guys get for red? Okay, you're good. We'll come back. How about you guys? Red? 4.04. Okay. Okay. Let's see. What did you guys get for orange? Oh, okay. No. All right. And yellow. Okay. All right. When you're looking at a profit and loss, there are a bunch of different accounts, right? And numbers next to all of those different accounts. That's great and all, but we want to simplify, right? And so what we're going to do is blue on your, this is for later. Blue is your direct labor. Red is your materials. Okay. Orange is other direct costs, meaning transactions that you can assign to one specific job, right? So like a subcontractor invoice, you can assign to one specific job. Equipment rental, you can usually assign to one specific job. Does that make sense? Okay. That's your orange. Yellow is a little bit different. We call all of these costs on the truck costs. And here's why. When you load up your truck to go to the job site, what do you put on it? You put your labor on your truck. You put your materials on the truck to go to the job site. You put all your other direct costs on the truck. They go to the job site. There are other things that go on the job to the job site that you can't really assign like one transaction to one customer. Insurance, fuel, yeah, workers' comp, right? Other payroll expenses, those kind of things, right? Cell phone. These things are all going on that truck to the job site. Okay? The problem is, like I said, you can't assign that to one specific customer, to one specific job, right? There you go. That's called the PETA tax. Right? Okay. So these other things that go on the truck, they're called overhead. Now, a lot of people will call office staff and your office rent and your marketing and advertising and those kind of things overhead. It's not actually correct, right? Those are different, and we'll cover those with the brown M&Ms, right? All these things are things that go on the truck. Right? And these things that go on the truck, they're always a percent of revenue. So what does that mean? Right. Yeah. Yeah. What?
It scales with how much you're pulling in.
Yeah. Right. So if you have more green to red, that's going to change the fraction. If you have fewer green to red, that's going to change the fraction. Right. So all of these are a percent of revenue. Right. What did we end up with here? 11, 19, 20. So this is 20%. Okay. So we have 20%. That means that out of every dollar that comes in this scenario, 20 cents goes toward doing the job, and 80 cents is left over to cover your profit and other expenses. Does that make sense? Is everybody with me on that? Right? Right. Out of the 80 cents. This 80 cents is called your gross margin percentage. Okay. These are all important. One reason for a couple reasons when it comes to budget. All right. So we have 20% on the truck costs, and which means 80 cents is left over to cover our other expenses and our profit. Right? Okay. Now, the next number, you don't really need to write it down or anything. Well, you can write it down if you want. It is how many brown ones do you have? Okay, the brown M&Ms represent what I call the hill. first number that goes in your hill is selling, general, and admin. Okay. Selling, general, and admin is the name for your brown M&Ms. Okay. So if I have a profit and loss in front of me for 2024, I'm going to print it out and I'm going to go through with markers and I'm going to find all of my direct labor on my profit and loss and mark it blue. Then I'm going to go through and find all my direct materials on my profit and loss and mark it red. Next, we're going to go through and find all of our orange or other direct costs, the subs, the equipment rental, those kind of things, and mark it orange. Then we're going to go through and all the other things that go on the truck get marked as yellow for overhead. Okay? So you've color coded your profit and loss now, right? And then at that point, it's as simple as the M&Ms game we just did, right? You add up all the blue, you add up all the red, you add up all the orange and all the yellow. Then you go through and divide each of those by your total revenue, which is the green. Okay? Does that make sense? Is that a lot simpler than just looking at a profit and loss and trying to calculate ratios? Yeah? Yeah, M&Ms are much more fun than numbers on a P&L, right? But it's the exact same concept. It's the exact same concept, right? Okay. Couple more steps here. We have all of these percentages and we know how many brown M&Ms we need, right? Okay, I'm going to throw a tricky math equation your way. You ready? If you're going 50 miles an hour, how long does it take you to go 100 miles? Just kidding, it's not tough. It's really simple, right? How do you get that number? It's actually division. Yeah, yeah. The 100 miles divided by 50 miles per hour, right? Let's do one more. How about 50 miles an hour and you're going 200 miles?
4 hours.
Yeah, thank you.
How do you multiply and get to the end?
He said 50 miles an hour, 200, so I did 50, 50, 50, 50, 4.
Oh, got it. Yep, that makes sense.
I have ADHD, so math is a challenge for me.
That's actually the way she was going to.
Don't give yourself excuses.
So it was multiplication.
That's fine. But don't use it as a crutch. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let me throw one more at you. We're going to change it just a little bit. Okay. What if I am going 50 miles an hour and I want to go 25 miles? How long will it take? Right? Okay. It's still the same division. All right. Okay. Your brown M&Ms are like a hill that you have to get over. Before you're profitable, you have to cover this hill of selling, general, and admin expenses. Guess how fast you're going over that hill? Your gross margin percentage. That's how fast you're going over the hill. Right? Okay, so how many brown M&Ms did you have? 6? Okay. So we have 6 brown here. Okay. The brown M&Ms are not a percentage. They're fixed. They don't move. If you double the amount of business that you have, you don't have to double your office rent. You don't have to double your office admin. Now, as you grow, you will have to expand that, but it's not a percentage. It's just going to expand to whatever you need to be able to run your company, right?
Sales, general, and admin.
So everything that's left on your profit and loss that you haven't marked yet goes on that. So yeah, office rent, office utilities, office admin, your marketing and sales budget and advertising budget. Those are kind of the basic items.
That goes in the overhead, or that goes in the.
Your truck payment actually goes on the balance sheet, which is a little bit different. You're not going to find that on your profit and loss, right? And that's why it's going to end up being yellow, because it's depreciation. Do you guys understand depreciation? You buy a truck for $100,000, because that's what it costs now. That truck is going to be useful for you for 5 years. That's how long the life of that truck will be. Not really, you can drive it forever, but. So basically, we are using up 1/5 of that truck each year, right? So $20,000. Each year, we're using up $20,000 of that truck. That's what depreciation is. Okay. It's how long it takes you to use up your vehicles and equipment. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah? Depreciation can be kind of tricky, especially if you're talking to an accountant about it.
I have another question on that. So
Yeah.
will I be in the sales, general, and admin?
It depends.
I'm not in the bill.
How much time are you on the jobs? Okay. If you were to throw a percentage at it. Okay. So what I would do is I would take your labor and I would times it by 80%. And that 80% would go to blue and 20% would go to brown. That makes sense? Don't let that confuse you guys if you're not with us there. All right. But that's how you figure that. Right. Okay. Are y'all with me? Okay, back to where we were at. We have 6 brown M&Ms that we have to get over before we are profitable, right? And we just talked about the miles per hour and miles, right? The rate that we're going over this hill is 80%. So what we do is we take our total hill and we divide it by 80%, which is 0.8. So everybody pull out your calculators and do 6 divided by 0.08, or 0.8, sorry. 7.5. Okay. What is that number? No, it's a little tricky. It's a little bit tricky. This number right here is the total revenue that we need to break even. Okay? So if you were to take your green M&Ms and pair them up with all of the other M&Ms that you have, right? One green one, one red, one green one blue, right? You pair them all up that way. That's like paying your bills. Any green ones left over, that's your profit in this scenario, right? But we want to know how many M&Ms to just break even. So we can pair them up with all the different colors, all the different M&Ms, and have 0 green ones left over. Okay? That's what a break even is. And this process tells us that we need 7.5 green M&Ms to cover all of these. Okay?
Wait, how did you get that? 7.5%?
So we took the 6, the size of our hill. Oh, smart, man. Okay. We have our hill, which is 6. We divide that by our gross profit margin.
Counting gross profit margins by.
I'll flip right back to it, which is 0.8 or 80%. Okay. And that equals revenue. Yeah, your revenue to break even. Yeah. Okay. So I'll flip back over here. Okay, so we added up all of these M&Ms, right? 7, 4, 8, and 1. It was 20. Okay. So our on the truck expenses are 20% of our revenue. Does that make sense? Everybody's with me on that? For every dollar, 20 cents is going to cover our cost to do the job. Okay. That means that if we've used up 20 cents on the truck, we have 80 cents left over, right? Which is the gross margin percentage. That's where that comes from. Okay. Are you with me now? Does that?
You need 1.5 more M&Ms than your sales, general, and admin to cover all of the other things in this scenario. Don't look at your own M&Ms. You're just, with this percentage, you just need 7.5 M&Ms to break even because you only used 1.5 in your blue, red, orange, and yellow combined.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Did I lose everybody? No? Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Okay. You take your total on the truck expenses, right? And you divide it by the green, and that gets us to 20%. Right? So we go through our profit and loss. We add up the blue, red, orange, and yellow. Add up all those numbers together. And then we divide it by the green, our total revenue for the year. And that gives us a number right here. Now, in real life, with a construction business, these numbers are actually probably reversed, right?
I was gonna say, if I had 80% gross margin,
That would be fantastic, right?
I wouldn't be here, I may be.
Yeah.
Kind of the lake or something.
Right, exactly. Okay. But yeah, so in this scenario right here, with these numbers, 20% is the cost to do the job, and 80% is what's left over after we've paid our costs. Okay, so we pay our direct labor, we pay our direct materials, we pay our other direct and our overhead. We've paid all of those things, and we have 80 cents left over of every dollar. Okay? So then we just take our total brown M&Ms, which is our hill, and we divide it by this number. This is a speed limit. That's what this is. Okay. This would be the same as 50 miles per hour. So 6 miles over 0.8 miles per hour. It's the same thing. Okay. Well, he's not doing all these calculations. Especially when they're preparing taxes. Nobody has time to do this at all. And that's where the problem comes from. But and I can explain that another time, but where are we hung up?
You get that 6 with the hill?
That's your total brown M&Ms. Right? So I asked her how many brown M&Ms she had, and it was 6.
That represented, then that's the 7.5.
Office admin, office rental
Right.
space.
Yeah, so you take the total brown M&Ms and you divide it by this 80 cents, this 80%. Right?
Brown M&Ms for all the other bills?
Yeah.
6?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then basically it's like saying, like, this is, say it's a month, right? So saying to break even for the year, you have to do a month and a half of revenue to break even. Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So, can I say something on this?
Yeah.
Because Jeremy, I work with Jeremy on this. That hill you gotta get to, let's just say, right, we'll do easy numbers. All right, we'll do $500,000 in revenue. That hill we've gotta get to, let's say your fixed cost is 20,000 a month, so you're 240. You've gotta get to $240,000 before that profit comes. So if your overhead is whatever, 260, not overhead, excuse me, your job cost is 260, or your SG&A, no, sorry, your what's on the truck is 260, then you're breaking even. But if you start making $600,000, that 240,000 now is gone. So you're still gonna have that 50% cost. Now you're making $50,000, and it just expands after that.
Okay, so like.
You're mostly right.
Yeah.
For the hill.
Yeah.
And then I times that by 12, and that's the number that I have to put to for the year.
So let me
I'll defer to him on that. So
let me interject really quickly here. If you add up the total and it's 240,000, right? Yeah, the hill. If the hill is 240,000, you don't need $240,000 in revenue to cover that, because you're not taking out the costs to do the job, right? So on this, in this scenario, yes, that's exactly it. Yes. Right.
Your goal, break even for the year.
Right. Yes. So the 240,000 has to be 80% of revenue. Right? And so that's why we take the number and divide it by the gross margin percentage. Because then we include in that final number all of our costs to do the job. I promise this is the hardest part of the night.
But once you figure this out, guys, it makes perfect sense and you can use.
Okay. Are you with me? Yeah, kind of.
Little fuzzy on that last part.
Okay. Tell me what.
Got the hill, which is all the fixed expenses at 240K.
Yes.
That equals 80% of the revenue.
Yes.
You have to fill out the other 20% higher than the 280 to be able to pay everything and break even.
Basically, yes. What you're saying is mostly true. Yes. And I say mostly true. I'm sorry. Here, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's 20% of the revenue goes to costs, right? So it's not 20% higher than the 240. That's where the difference is, right?
I thought you said 240 80% of the revenue.
It is, yes. So you have to take the 240 and divide it by the 80%. So everybody get out your calculators.
So say.
So I know what you're saying, you're right.
Yeah.
You have to make that 20% extra for you to break
Yeah.
in for all your costs plus your overhead,
Yeah.
your hill.
Say you made $100,000 in a month, right? 20% of that is on the truck. It went to the job, it went to the labor, whatever. So you spent 20 grand on that piece. You have 80 grand left and you spend 80 grand in your sales, general and admin, right? For your office and everything else. Don't spend that much, but right? If you spend that much, you broke even. Right? So that was
Yes.
the number that was 240. Now we're saying it's 80 grand, right? But if it only cost you 40 grand, you spent 20 on your, on the truck. You spent 40 on your sales, general and admin, and you're ending up with 40 grand in profit after because you got over the hill, right? The hill was that 40 extra. You had to take out the first 20, then you had to get over the 40, and then you had a little bit left over.
Perfect.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was great. Thanks. All right. So that's how we figure out the revenue. Okay. So we start with our profit. And then we do all this stupid stuff and end up with the revenue that we need to meet our goal.
Ask something.
Mhm.
You do this every month, or is it that you do this for the year and you don't take any profit until that whole year is paid and then it's profit?
No, not at all. Not at all. And that's part of what we're doing here with the budget is we're going to figure out how much you can take each paycheck or whatever as profit. Yeah, that's the end goal that we want to hit. Exactly. Okay. You guys need a break? Let your brain catch up. Let's take 5 minutes. And then there you go. There you go. Have more questions on this?
Get it now.
Okay, good.
You probably tell that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah.
But when he started explaining it, clicked with that last.
Oh, good.
That's when it really clicked. It's like, okay, we're only calculating breaking.
Yeah.
And everything after that, kind of going great.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Video that you're doing gonna be available for us to go through as we're doing our own numbers.
Yeah. And you can call me anytime you want to.
Like she said, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, we're gonna, like I said, the goal here is to simplify. If you take the numbers out of it and you focus on colors and what we're doing with the colors, then it makes it a lot simpler.
We could do the same things like you said, the markers on the.
Yeah.
L.
Yeah,
You did our first.
it's exactly
That's
right.
what I've learned. I never
Yeah.
had done with any of that.
Yeah, most people haven't. Most people haven't.
Freaking scary.
No, like I said, colors are not scary. Numbers can get scary.
Makes a big difference.
But if you just know what you're doing with the colors, you're good.
But I'll tell you, Marty, using it now, like I've been looking at a bunch of other stuff, I'm like, well, you know, let's put that quarter, okay, what's it gonna take, what's it look like? I was looking for some financing, call somebody out, some guy, he's like, oh yeah, I'm working with growth plan. He's like, oh, what, tell me about that, so, well, I didn't, whatever, we're doing cul-de-sacs, and he's like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah, just bring it over when you're done, we'll get you squared away. Okay.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It'll be good. Yeah, so.
That was perfect. Yeah, that was perfect. Yeah.
Take huge concepts and just boil it and just make it super simple, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to do with M&Ms and making it colors instead of numbers.
The biggest problem is,
I start writing all the numbers on the board.
is we have too many greens. Right?
Well,
That's
yeah.
actually the problem, is if we had like, 'cause if we have 50, right, cause I have, what, 4, 17 and 6 is 23, right? If I had 23 and 50. then
A little
I could make
different.
That work,
Yeah.
right? I have 113 greens, like I'm flush with green, and so because we're saying that only 20% is on the truck, it kind of makes it hard to like.
Yeah.
Right, because that's not.
Because everybody's looking at theirs and saying, wait a minute,
Right. And
that's
because-
not what I have in
because
front of
we're-
me.
And because we're thinking, well, no, on the truck, I'm spending 50%. Right, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a much higher number than just 20
Yeah.
for all of the other expenses. And then saying it's 6 for that because we're separating it from the previous percentages. And we're saying, because there's no way that we just need 1.5 M&M, the green M&Ms to cover all of our other expenses, right? Our non-admin expenses.
Right.
And so that, I think that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know, why is it 7.5? That makes sense. Well, in reality, you have to have 60 grand a month to cover truck expenses and the admin expenses, and then whatever else about that is. But
Yeah. Awesome.
good. I didn't want to hijack. I'm not trying to.
Great. That's why I like group settings, and that's why I like conversation rather than instruction.
Sure.
You can eat your M&Ms, guys. In case you haven't already eaten them.
I appreciate that. So I actually came across the bus of my estimator talking about the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And, but the way he was saying it was that like you take your costs for all of your overhead for the whole year.
Things like that.
And you don't take any profit until that whole year sum is paid. And that's.
Yeah.
Making profit.
Yeah, so from a break even point of view,
Yeah.
that's 100% true. Yeah. I'm much more a fan of relying on historic numbers and making some assumptions that you're going to perform pretty close to the same year over year. In fact, I have a pile of actual benchmark statistics that prove that.
Yeah.
And so if you're gonna operate basically the same way, you can figure out a conservative number to take out of
Yeah,
each check.
I mean, yeah, and this helps, because then I can figure out like hiring another estimator.
Mhm.
How much I have to charge or make more per month.
To pay a little
in
bit
that,
more,
you
say,
know.
so something with
Yeah.
that job.
So this helps out a lot.
Good.
I was trying to wrap my head around what you're saying, like it kind of made sense, but I didn't quite understand the mechanics of it. Now, now I get it.
Awesome.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah. But are you with us on this?
Yeah. I love the color. Because that'll make it easier to go through, because I had my last year and I was gonna bring it tonight, I forgot. But I would I'm gonna color coordinate it and play with him tonight. Just to see where we are from last year, and then we'll start on this year, obviously.
so you're gonna take last year, and then your budget is gonna be guessing what this year will be like, right?
Exactly. Well, then I can see if we need to start charging more in our calls. So that's what we need
Yeah.
to figure out.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Awesome.
Color coordinating is way easier.
Yeah. I agree. Let's see, we're missing Thomas. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get going again. All right. Is everyone good if I start erasing some of these numbers? Yeah? Okay. All right. Let's look at some more realistic to the construction industry numbers. Okay. All right. Direct labor, 30% would be very common. Okay. 30% direct labor. Materials, about 30% would be about the same, or would be a good number for this. All right. So what percent are we at so far? Huh? 60. Yeah. Okay. Depending on your industry and how many subs you use versus how much self-performing you do, 10% is a reasonable number. Okay. And then overhead is usually fairly small, 5%. Again, depending on your industry, but 5% would be a good number there, right? So if we add up all those percentages, what is our total cost? What's our percentage? Yeah. Okay. So what does that leave over? Or what is left after the 75? Yeah. I'm just going to put gross profit margin, GPM. Okay. All right. Now let's take Thomas's example and use the 20,000 a month, right? So 240,000 for a year. That's very reasonable for a $2 or $3 million company. That would be fairly reasonable. Okay. Okay. So our total selling general and admin is 240,000. Okay. So now, in order to figure out our break even, in order to figure out, okay, how do we cover this 240,000 plus the 75%? In order to figure out how we cover those two, we're going to take the 240 and divide it by 25%. What's that? Yeah, 960,000. Yeah. Total revenue. Yeah. So now let's go the other direction, right? At 960,000, what are our total costs?
960 is just a break even.
That's a break even, yeah. Right. So what are our total costs at 960,000? So that's our admin expenses, our SG&A expenses.
720,000,
And how did you get that?
divided by 75%.
There you go.
How'd you get, the 960?
So we take our total hill and we divide it by our gross profit margin. Yeah, gives us the 960. And then like he said, you take the 960, you times it by 75%, and that tells us of that 960, 720,000 is going to have to go toward doing the work. Okay? And what will be left over? 240,000. Right? Then after that, nothing. Right. How much of it is profit? Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. Perfect. You get it. Okay. All right. You guys ready for another video? Okay. So as we're doing this, we're going to have to go back and forth a little bit. All right. So in this next video, how are these people going back and forth? Right? You ready? The blooper reel. All right. Let's see. Okay. So along the lines of being flexible. When my oldest daughter was young, we used to throw the football a lot, right? And after a while, my daughter would notice that I'd throw one with my right and then throw one with my left, and then another one with my right and another one with my left. I don't know why. You don't have to be ambidextrous. It was just fun, right? But my daughter picked up on it and started doing the same thing. So she could launch a football, 40 yards with either arm. It was awesome. Right? Yeah, in fact, one day she was out playing in the cul-de-sac and I was out there with them throwing the football, and this kid came up and he was like, "Oh, you're a girl, you can't throw a football." And I said to him, "She can throw it farther with her left hand than you can with your right." And of course, we embarrassed him in front of everybody there in the cul-de-sac, right? Which is what any good parent should do. embarrass all the neighbors' kids, right? But the reason I tell that is because we do have to kind of be flexible and be able to work back and forth. Okay. I'm going to show you some story problems in a second that we're not going to solve together, but just to give you an idea of what we have to do once we get these revenue numbers. Okay. But first, this 960 is just our break even, right? We don't want to just break even. We want profit. And we've written down a goal for our profit, a number, right? So let's just say, we'll put 100K up here. Okay. Let's just say that the number that we're passionate about, our why, can be satisfied with $100,000 profit. Okay. All we're going to do is we're going to take that and we're going to add it to the hill. We're going to change the size of our hill so it includes selling, general, and admin and profit, right? I think we can all figure that one out. $1 million. So 340,000, right? So this is the pivot part. We've changed the size of the hill. What does that do to the revenue that we need? What? Yeah, perfect. Okay. So why did that change? Yeah. We changed the size of the hill by adding our profit onto it, right? Okay. So once we've done all of this and we know what our revenue is, we want to do the sniff test and just see if it's realistic, right? For some of you, 1.3 may be really high. For some of you, it may be really low, right? Eventually, if you keep working with us and coming here, that will be really low for you, right? So at 1.36, right, at that amount, we can now do what Gerritt usually does with people when he first meets with them, and we can start breaking that down. So let me raise this stuff. Okay. So get your calculators out. Okay. 1,360,000. How much is that a month? Okay. Now let's take this number and divide it by 52 for weeks. Yeah, 52 weeks in the year. Right. Okay. 26,153 every week throughout the year. Okay. Next, you need to know about what your average job size is. Okay? You have to know about what your average job size is, about a dollar amount, right? So for instance, let's say 15,000 is an average job site or job size here, right? If we were to look at all of our jobs and find the average, then 15,000 would be that average. Okay. What's that? Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. So this is about 2 a week. Right? It's about 2 a week. So yeah. 91 you said in a year? Awesome.
If you
Okay.
do different types of jobs, or you do residential and commercial, you're gonna have different numbers, right? So this is just very high level, I'm just showing you how to calculate things.
Right.
We have different classes where you can.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, so 2 per week. So this is the sniff test. Are you able to do 2 jobs a week right now? Right? This company here, your number will be different because it's all based on your numbers, right? But for this company right here, are they able to do 2 a week? Right? If not, then you need to work with Gerritt and figure out a way to be able to plan that. So you have the manpower and the equipment you need to get it done. Right? Okay. Let me see. All right. Let's skip over these ones here. All right. Trying to figure out what it is. Let's see. All right. So we've gotten through all of this stuff, right? And we've figured out if it's feasible or not. And we're all ready to go with hard numbers. Now it's time to start putting it all together into a budget, right? So here's the way that works. Step number 1, write down at the top the monthly revenue that you need. We'll just do it for 1 month. We'll pretend like every month is the same throughout the year. Okay. So just for 1 month, write down the total revenue for 1 month, which was the 113,333. Okay. Right below that, write direct labor. And then take the 113 times it by 30%. 113 times 0.3. $38. 33. Okay. That means that for that month, $33,000 needs to be budgeted for your direct labor. Okay. This is the same number here. So we can just do the same thing. That same number again, write down direct material and that monthly number. Okay. Next, you're going to write down other direct costs. And the monthly number for that is going to be 10% times the 113. So 11,000. Okay. Then write down overhead and 5%. So see, 11.3 times half, 6.7.
5,666.
That's right. Never mind.
On a spreadsheet.
Yes. Oh, I use spreadsheets and calculators all the time. Technology is great. I can do the math in my head. I'm just really slow. So, all right. So you've got all of those. The next number you're going to write down is selling general and admin. And we want to do our monthly amount for that. So 20,000. What's that? So 240,000 is the total for the year. So 20,000 is the total for 1 month. Right? 240 divided by 12. So 20,000. Okay. What goes at the very bottom? Which is how much? What's that?
20,300, right?
Yeah, so you want to do the 100,000 divided by 12. There you go. Okay, 8433. So write that down as your last number. What's that? For the profit? Okay, what is our target profit? 100,000 for the year. So just divide that 100,000 by 12. Yeah. So 8433. Yeah. The next step after this is to write down the same numbers for every month. Right? That's the simplest form. That's where we're starting. Okay. You don't have to do that right now. You don't have to fill out a matrix right now. But that's the foundation of the budget. Okay. The next step beyond that would be now to take your different items, and start breaking them out by expenses that you pay over and over and over, right? So if you have 12 months and say you only pay insurance once a year, what month does that fall in? Right? So you put that in that month, and you'll have to adjust so that the total for the year is still the same. No, because it's coming out in 1 month, right? So say your insurance is $12,000, right? You can break out insurance as one line item. And in January, or in we'll say June, in June, you have to pay your insurance, $12,000, right? Well, what you'll do is you'll take and you'll subtract $1,000 from all the other months, so that you still have 240,000 is your total. Okay. And then you can go down your profit and loss and break out things individually as you want. So if you want to, you can take, say, your office supplies, and it was 1,200 this year. You divide it by 12 and put $100 in each column. Okay. And you keep going that way, so that all of the expenses and all of the costs that you know how much they're going to be and when they're going to happen, you can actually go in and fill in those numbers during those months and make adjustments so that the total SG&A is always 240,000. Okay. Questions on that? No? Okay. Lost. Okay.
Divided, you're getting 240, you're trying to get them.
Yeah.
To get a line item for most people don't understand that shit, and so.
Gotcha.
Going to just one month, and you're trying to get the whole month all down to one, and you're trying to itemize every individual item per month, you're gonna lose half the class.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm assuming, and might be I was writing down the decimal.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's go back to the basics where we just were a second ago. Red, yellow, orange. Okay. So let's see. And profit. $433. This was 20,000. Okay. What was blue again? 34. Okay. Orange. Okay. Yeah. And yellow was 5.5, right? 5.6. Sure. Okay. This is our monthly budget. Okay. So then we're going to do the next month. The next month, this is January. Now we're going to do February. We'll come over here. And we're going to just use the same numbers. What's that? Yeah, right. Okay. Right? And you keep doing that across the year. That's your budget. That's where you're at. Okay. So is it okay? You got that now? Does that work? Okay.
That, to me, and I think to most,
Yeah, yeah.
Talk for myself, that makes sense, but when you try to categorize, okay, well.
Yeah.
This 1 month is gonna have an insurance, but it's gonna cover the whole entire year. That's gonna at least throw my mind off thinking,
Yeah.
oh shit, this month I gotta calculate a little bit more for here instead of less there. And you can
Yeah.
do it all the same for every month and then just know that that month's got it. It's already divided between all the months, so you don't have to try to calculate for the 1 month, so you're all.
Are you saying something like each month you would put money aside, like in the savings or something?
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
Then you just
Then you already have it.
have it.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah.
How do I calculate these when my monthly, like, when my material costs and everything differs so much from month to month?
That's right.
So,
That's why.
And also.
Right.
income.
but if you look historically at what your materials have costed you,
Let's average it out.
yeah, our average is 30%. Right? So realistically, some months it's going to be more than 34,000, other months it'll be less, right? But if we average it out, it will always be 30% of the revenue, right? Even though some months it might be 25%, other months it might be 35%. We're not worried about that. We want to just an average, one number for the year. Okay. Yeah? Is it, yeah, go ahead.
Kids, when I get them started with our company, there's times I don't try to get them caught up in the hole, maybe I could be in the blue, red, orange, yellow. I tell them more, take your expenses, take what your profit, equal to 2 out, and then you see what your profit is. Instead of trying to figure out the percentages of each entire different things, and maybe I should be doing it differently, but to try to confuse them on how much they're actually paying labor to parts, to all that shit, still, just take your minuses and take your fucking pluses, have them go to figure out what your profit is in the back end.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm able to get them to start contraceptive, and then once they understand that basic, expenses, profit, and everything else, then I get them into, okay, now how much did you pay for labor? How much did you pay for material? And then breaking them down.
Yeah. Let me simplify this one more step, right? We're going to draw a line right here. All right. Somebody add up all those for me. I think we had it calculated a minute ago, but let's see, upside down.
Oh, wait,
No. Must have erased it. That times 75%. 113, 333 times 75%.
It's about 85 grand.
70, 85. Yeah. 86. 84,997. Okay. So our revenue for the month, our revenue is 113. That's same up here. Right? The second section is 84. What does?
5, but that last one was a little rough.
What does?
You agree.
The anxiety.
The way.
I know. Look at all the extra squiggles.
That created the farmer for you?
Right. Yeah.
It's about as sketchy as that tooth story you told her.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So 113, 84,000 here. 85 here. Tom's keeping me in line today. And then the brown is going to be how much? 20. And the profit's going to be how much? 8,000. Yeah. Okay. 105, 113. Okay. So this is even simpler than this. But this is as simple as you want to go. You don't want to go beyond this, because the problem you'll face is that this number is always a percentage of this number. So you've got to treat this separately from these numbers, right? Yeah, so let's.
Your rent doesn't get higher or lower if you do more rent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Your office staff is going to be paid pretty much the same every month, right? If you have a marketing and advertising budget, it's going to be pretty much the same every month, right? They're fixed amounts. They don't move, right? You double your revenue, those numbers don't double.
Whereas if we do 226, our 85 also doubles with the other ones.
Yeah. Okay. So those four numbers at a minimum are the ones you need to focus on, right? Yeah.
Double business every year, 3 years.
Awesome.
So then looking back on last year's, do I double all those numbers for my labor and everything to figure out my budget for moving forward?
Right. So that would be, yeah, so that would be a historically based budget, right? Which you can do, yeah. And then you don't have to go through the percentages and the calculations and that. You just write your revenue number at the top. You have your percent for your costs. You have what's left over for your SG&A and your profit, right? But the revenue is not what we want to focus on. What we want to focus on is the profit. What is
my labor costs from last year and my material costs from last year to anticipate doubling it all again this year?
No, because it's always going to be percent of your target revenue, right? And your target revenue is based on your profit, not historical. So that's two different directions you can go with it, right? You can say, okay, historically I've doubled every year. I made 800,000 last year. This year I will be at 1.6 million, right? And then from that 1.6 million, I can do 75% of that. I have 25% left over. What are my selling, general, and admin expenses each month? And subtract that to get the profit, right? That's one direction you can go, definitely, right? The direction we're going is over here instead, where we don't care that we've doubled every year. We're saying this is our target revenue in order to make this much profit, right? Right. Yeah. We're starting with the profit. This is our target profit for this year. And then using that, we're figuring out what our revenue has to be in order to meet that target profit. Right? Does that make sense?
I was just gonna try to add on, it sounds like you're talking about two different styles of budgeting.
Uh-huh, yeah.
A historical side of budgeting, where you're trying to go off of all the old data that you have, versus a future planning budget.
Yeah.
Two different styles, but do you try, kind of mix them, try not to?
Yeah, you can definitely mix them. As you get these concepts down better, then yeah, you can definitely start mixing those. Yeah. You know, you can also use them as benchmarks, right? I did 800,000 last year. I'm doubling roughly every year. Does that mean that 1.36 million is reasonable? Is that feasible? Is that a goal I can hit?
Yeah,
Right.
You're saying just turn it all into percentages and then that will carry through no matter what I do.
Yes. No matter what that top revenue number is, the percentages will remain. This is a little different, right? Because if we're changing this to historical number, right? These percentages will still be the same percentages of this, right? But this number doesn't change.
Yeah.
Right? It stays basically the same. And so the profit left over is going to be different. In that scenario, you have to add up all your costs. You have to subtract all of your selling, general, and admin expenses. And then whatever's left over is your profit. Does that make sense? I'll show you. Let's say instead we're doing 150,000 a month. Okay. What's 75% of 150? $75 plus 32.5, so
112.5.
okay. 112, because that's a percent of this, right? This number doesn't change. This number is still 20. Right? So now 150 minus 112, 38, minus 20, and our profit now is 18. Right? And
So like the profit, we just came up with a number to make that profit, what you wanted to make.
I went through the whole process we did at the start, and I determined that $100,000 of profit is what I need to make this year to meet my goals.
Figure out how to carry that through. I don't have a dollar amount and I just want to make like 30% profit. How do I translate that back down to like 30% of all of that? That's the target goal that I'm trying to reach profit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a much more complicated mathematical process because net profit is never really a percent of revenue. In every profit and loss that you pull up and all kinds of people, they'll say, I made this much, this percent net profit last year, right? Well, if you doubled your sales, that net profit amount would not double. It would skyrocket because these amounts don't change.
Like you more than doubled your profits, but you didn't double
It's
your
like an
revenue.
exponential type of equation.
Yeah. Right.
And they're not inversely direct related.
Yeah.
The profit and the other number.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Jeremy.
Let me show you. I'll show you right here with we'll take and we'll double these numbers. So 226. Okay, so we doubled our revenue, right? We're gonna double this. So 170. Okay, which leaves 56. This is still 20. And 36 left over. Right?
Together are the numbers that one and the top one, the revenue and the money on the truck, basically.
Right. These two numbers. So get out your calculator there and do 8 divided by 113. Point 7. 8 divided by 113. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, so this is 7%. Okay? So with what you're saying, you would expect this to be 14%. Right? Because you doubled your revenue. Right? Okay, do 36 divided by 226. You already did it. 36 divided by 226. That's more realistic. Okay. Aaron. Okay.
Double your revenue, then your building expenses, you think you need more material, bigger office, bigger everything else, so that thing goes up and you actually lose more. Your profit goes to shit.
Yeah.
Not month to month.
Right.
It's
the
you're like,
and you can actually calculate all that. Right? If you feel like you need a bigger office, you can say, okay, I need another $4,000 a month is what it's going to cost me for this bigger office. Right? $4,000 more every month. Okay. You can take that 4,000 and go back and add it to the hill because it's one of the selling, general, and admin expenses. You add that to the hill and then you recalculate your break even. So you can plan for all those things. This is how this process is how you can decide financially when to hire. You can decide when to buy equipment, whether to finance it or pay cash with it or for it, right? You can use these to answer all of those kind of questions. Okay. That makes sense? Okay, one last concept, or did you want to take over? No. Okay. All right. Last concept. It's based on something called Parkinson's law. Has anybody ever heard of Parkinson's law? You forgot? Parkinson's law says that the demand for a resource expands to meet the supply of the resource. Okay, I'll give you an example. If you're given 30 days to do a book report in school, how many days is it going to take you to do the book report? 29 days, 23 hours, and 30 minutes, right? Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's an example. The amount of the resource available is 30 days. The amount that you use is 30 days. Does it take you 30 days to do a book report? A couple hours, depending on your teacher, right? Okay. So that's a principle called Parkinson's law. It's what we naturally do. We use up all the resources available to us. Okay? The same is true with money. Okay? I want you guys to think as I'm explaining this process and see if you can relate to what I'm saying. Okay? I get a check from the Smith family for $30,000. I deposit it in my bank account. Then I go sit at my desk with my stack of bills and I say, okay, I can pay that one. I can pay that one. I can pay that one. I don't get to the bottom of my list, but I've used up all $30,000, right? Does that sound familiar to anybody else? Okay, there's a way around that. But that right there is Parkinson's law. You're using up all $30,000. How much profit do you have? You're not keeping any of it. You're spending all of it, right? So the way to trick your mind and change this whole mentality and mindset is to take the equation profit minus expenses, revenue minus expenses equals profit. And you're going to switch it around. Instead, your brain's going to think revenue minus profit. Thank you, Gerritt. Find an open space. Yeah. All right. So revenue minus expenses equals profit. Right? This is what you're doing on your profit and loss statement. Taking all your revenue, subtracting everything you spend, what's left over is profit, right? We're changing this. Don't think that way anymore. Okay? Instead, revenue minus profit equals expenses. Okay? You're going to sit down with that $30,000 check. You're going to take some profit out first, even if it's just a very conservative amount, right? Say, take $2,000 out. Then you have $28,000. Then you pull up your bills and you say, okay, I can pay this one. I can pay this one. I can pay this one. You're going to use up all $28,000, but you have $2,000 that you've set aside in a savings account or something that you're not going to touch. That's profit. I should call it profit first. That is what I'm describing here. It's the profit first process, right? And these are the basic steps. Remember grandma's old budgeting system? She cashes grandpa's check and then puts some cash in an envelope for the mortgage, some in an envelope for food, some in an envelope for clothing, right? And then when she goes to buy clothing, she only uses that envelope. When she goes to buy food, she only uses that envelope, right? That's basically what profit first is. Except instead of using envelopes, you're going to move money into different checking accounts, right? So you usually set up, when I'm implementing it with people, we usually set up direct labor, direct materials, other on the truck expenses, selling general and admin, and profit. Sometimes we set up like tax or something like that, or if they were saving for vehicles.
Are you saying you set up a different checking account for each of those?
Yes, multiple checking accounts.
You do the same thing.
Yeah. Except at MACU, you have to be really careful at MACU. It's kind of weird the way they do it. Anyway, different story. So that's what you do, okay? And then the last checking account you're going to have is called an income account. Okay? Every check that you cash, every dollar you receive goes in the income account. And then on the 5th and 20th of every month, you're going to look at how much is in the income account. You're going to apply your percentages to that amount. And then you're going to transfer money from the income account to the direct labor, from the income account to the direct materials, right? So you're moving it out of the income account and into your spending accounts, your other checking accounts. Okay? That's kind of your budgeting system, right? Most importantly is that profit account. Put money in the profit account. First, yeah, first. Okay? You got to be disciplined, obviously. There's a lot of reasons to start robbing money from other accounts to cover your materials or whatever the case may be, right? You got to be really disciplined. Don't do that. You can always adjust the percentages so that you get a better grip on the way you operate. But don't start robbing money from other accounts, especially the profit account. Don't touch that one. And then occasionally you celebrate. Make it worthwhile to save the money. Go on a vacation, go out to eat, buy a cool new Carhartt hoodie or nice new knife, whatever. The profit. Yeah, the profit. There you go. Okay. It's right. Okay. Any other questions on that? Can everybody take this and go implement it with their own profit and loss? Oh, wow. Shots fired. Yeah. I am available, guys, if you get hung up. Okay. Call or text or email, and I'll help you out. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, Gerritt. Taking over.
All right, last couple things. We want your feedback, so if you wouldn't mind scanning that QR code, hopefully it works, because I mean, it's super big enough. Feedback, we appreciate that. Very good.
Get up there? Okay.
You've ever seen a mouse this size?
Yes, accountants.
Yeah. So, you know,
I don't know any other accounts that use
I
it.
saw that thing, I'm like, you just throw it in.
The thumb. Use your thumb. You don't move it around. You use your thumb. Nice.
Yeah. So again, Jeremy does a horrible job of advertising himself, so I'll advertise for him. There's a reason that he's here in the office, and it's because I trust all of the people that I work with, all my clients, all my different businesses, everything goes to Jeremy. So he will give you the shirt off his back. You may not want it, but he'll give it. But he will answer the phone, any question that you have finance related. So whether you're a client or not, he will help you out. if you are curious about what it would be like to work with him, he'll be at the back. You can have that conversation with him. But Jeremy, thank you again for spending your time putting this here.
And take the mic.
Take the mic.
There you go.
We're trying to get used to this new system. So we just got this whole setup, which we're super excited about. Again, if you guys want to know more about our programs, Ryan and I will be in the back. Our next workshop next month will be the 27th, is it, Ryan? 27th at 11 a.m. We'll send out more information on it. It's going to be all around Google business profiles. I'm sure you guys love and hate Google all at the same time, right? Well, Ryan's going to give you the cheat code. There's literally only 5 areas you need to focus on. Ryan's going to give you the cheat code on how to do it all yourself. Obviously, if you don't want to, you can work with Ryan, one of the services he offers, but that's what our next workshop is going to be on. So if you want to drive more traffic to your business, Google Business is the way to do that. Fair? All right. If you don't have any more questions, we are done. Again, if you have a chance, please scan that QR code and fill it out. We'd love to hear back from you on topics that you want to hear about, things that we can do to improve, because we want to be able to serve you better. But that being said, thank you again for coming tonight. Have a great night.